sure you guys can hear me online. Yeah. All right. So welcome everybody. So happy Thursday. And tonight's pose that we are working with is reverse plank. You're like, what the hell is reverse plank? Reverse plank. So my thought behind this one is just literally to take our minds in a completely different direction, right? Because it's really easy to get caught in the cycles of what we always do. And when we do that, again, maybe it feels familiar and it feels good to fall into what is familiar. And at the same time, when we fall into what is familiar, what we often also fall into is the familiar stress. We fall into the familiar tension. We fall into the familiar apathy. We fall into the familiar depression. We fall into the familiar excessive activity. We fall into all of those things which we don't even consider because we're so used to it, right? It's what always happens. So reverse plank is one of those poses that we do it not very often in class. And I don't know that many people who would even say that they like it. So good, we're doing it, really selling it. But to do it, or to or to put yourself in the perspective of not trying to just do what you always do, right? And to let yourself actually explore those places where maybe it is uncomfortable to change. And maybe it is uncomfortable not just to do things, but sometimes it's uncomfortable to not do things, right? To not do what you always do, to not say what you always say. Right? So this becomes the practice, right? Is whatever we do on our yoga mat, or whatever we do as part of our yoga practice, is that it's meant to keep our minds really awake to what's happening right now. So I hope that you come to understand maybe a pose that you rarely do a little bit better tonight. And now, if you didn't know that reverse plank is a pose, now you know reverse plank is a pose. So that's what we're working on tonight. So find a comfortable seat, whatever that looks like. Of course, this is the time of year where energetically we say spring is everything renewing itself. We have all the holidays that are really about coming home, being reborn, recognizing that there is something more than the mundane world, that there's something more than that sense of struggle. And in yoga, the word for that we have is mukta. It means liberation. We often interpret that as I get out of this. Right? Liberation means I don't have to do this anymore. That's not really what it means. Right? Liberation is what happens when you no longer look at what's around you as struggle and struggle only. You don't identify as that every day is about struggle. So we train the mind to look at something else, experience something else. And there may still be challenges, difficulties, things to do. Just for a moment, feel your breath as the inhale that comes to you. And as you exhale, let the mouth open, even if it's just a little bit, sigh a little bit. Yeah, and then again, inhale. As you exhale, sigh again, letting the jaw drop, shoulders drop, hands unclench. Take one more full breath like that, really exhaling and letting go of the idea that you're going to accomplish anything here. You're not here to practice and accomplish something. So you're here to let go of all of those places where your mind is locked in struggle. That's it. It's to experience something other than struggle. So if you find yourself clenching, find yourself struggling tonight, remind yourself that the only goal here is to let go of struggle. Bring the hands together in front of the heart center, palm to palm. We'll open sound of Om. Take a deep breath in. And let your eyes float open. Really nice, you guys. You can release your hands, please, and go ahead and come forward onto hands and knees. Knees underneath the hips, hands underneath the shoulders. As you find your hands and knees, start to do hip circles. Good. Just moving the pelvis in nice big circles. Can be small circles too, but the big usually feels like it's a pretty good idea. So move your pelvis, move your shoulders. Good. And so many of you might be more familiar with the pose reverse table, right? Where the feet are on the floor. You're actually lifting your belly, your hips up towards the sky with your hands behind you. So reverse plank is an extension of that. Good. Move your hips the other direction, please. So it's really a fun exploration of how do I turn my arms? How do I turn my shoulders backwards? And how do I stretch my lower back and the front of my legs at the same time? Like, how do I find that? Because that's something that we don't do every day under normal circumstances. Good. Come back to stillness, please. Stretch your right arm out wide to the right. So you're on hands and knees. Stretch your right arm straight out from the shoulder. And then slide that arm underneath behind your left wrist. So your right shoulder is coming down to the floor. Turn your gaze to the left. This is thread the needle. Yep. And then walk your left arm forward in front of you towards the top of your mat. It's like you're just stretching through that whole left side of the body. Keep your shins pressing down to the floor. So if there's no weight in the tops of your feet, try to bring weight to the tops of your feet. Good. And then press down into that right arm, whatever is touching the floor. If the shoulder is not completely touching, that's fine. But press down into whatever part of the arm is pushing into the floor. Good. Feel your shoulder, your right shoulder drop away from your ear so you get space in your neck. Excellent. One more breath there, you guys. Really scoop into your low belly. Feel your belly lift up off of your thighs. Good. And then release. Come all the way back up to hands and knees. Good. And try that on the second side. Take your left arm out wide to the left. Slide behind your right wrist. Take your left shoulder down to the floor. Turn your gaze to the right. Good. And then walking the right arm forward in front of you, stretching through that arm any amount. Good. Keep weight in your shins. Notice how the left hip here is going to naturally drop towards the floor, right? Because it's going with you in the direction of the twist. Try and lift that left side low belly and push that left hip higher to the left. Good. So it's like your pelvis is trying to reverse the twist, right? It's trying to stay stable and square while your shoulders are doing their rotation. Good. You guys breathe into the back of the chest. Press through that left arm, whatever is touching the floor, push it down so you have that sort of isometric energy moving through the arm. Feel the shoulder drop away from the ear. Nice. And then scooping the belly, lift your belly up off of your thighs. Good. And then go ahead and walk yourself all the way back up onto your hands. Beautiful. And then walk your hands forward in front of you. So it's like you're in a modified downward facing dog. So your knees stay on the floor, stacked over your hips or underneath your hips, sorry. And then with your arms extended, walk your hands slightly wider. Yep, just a little bit. Good. And then you can either have palms flat here or come up on fingertips and start to cat-cow your spine with your arms extended like this. So you're keeping your hips again in line with your knees. Arms are extended forward. Cat-cow. Good. So again, I want you to really get into this feeling of rotating your rib cage with your shoulder blades, right? So the sternum is really rising forward and up on the inhale between the arms. And on the exhale, you're really feeling that curl, drawing the low belly in, drawing the middle back round. So you're trying to get into that tight space that is around the lower edge of your shoulder blades, your middle back. Good. Nice, you guys. Keep the hips moving back in space. Keep moving, inhaling, exhaling. Really nice. Excellent, you guys. One more breath as you inhale, pause there, chest lifted forward, press down into your shins, drag back on your hands. So feel like you're pulling your arm bones up and into the shoulders, and you're feeling your chest rise up even more. Good. And now pull your low rib cage in and up, and keep your sternum up towards the front of your mat. That's it. And then go ahead and release. Walk your hands back, widen your knees, let your hips come back to your heels. Child's pose. It feels hard. It's just 75. Yeah, it probably is getting hot in here because it's very humid with all the whatever. It's also possible this is still set to heat. We'll find out. It does say heat.
Oh, Lord.
Walk your torso to the right, please. Belly over your right thigh. Good. Letting your left hand maybe cross over your right. So again, you're just reaching through that whole side of your armpit a little bit longer. Nice. And then walk yourself back to center, please. Move towards the left. So belly over the left thigh. Letting the right arm cross over top of the left, or the right wrist crossing over top of the left. And again, you want to feel that stretch all the way alongside your ribs. So keep the hips heavy, rooting towards the heels. Nice. And then walk yourself back towards center, please. Good. Come on up onto hands and knees again. Walk your hands back up to your hips. You come to a high kneeling position. If you have a block here, you'd like to place a block between the upper thighs, you can. So you have something to hug into. Good. And then take your hands back behind your head, elbows wide. Good. Nice. Let your elbows come slightly in towards your ears. So you're actually squeezing the elbows towards each other and then pressing the head straight back into your hands. So you feel the resistance there. Keep your chin neutral to the floor. So don't look up. Keep your chin parallel to the floor. So as you push straight back into your head, you should feel the neck kind of get a little bit more awake. Draw your low rib cage in. Feel your low belly lift up and hug that block between the thighs. If you don't have a block, just imagine that you're hugging a block. Good. Keep squeezing the elbows slightly. Draw the tips of the elbows down. So it's like you're trying to pull the arm bones down and into the center of the chest. And then press the head back again. Good. Now maintain this feeling of lifting up through your low belly. Start to turn your sternum up towards the ceiling. Good. Keep your chin exactly in the same rotation that it is. So don't tilt the chin. Just lift your sternum so the head falls back. Keep pressing your hands into your head into your hands, and hugging the elbows. So again, we're targeting that area that is at the lower edge of the shoulder blades. So don't worry about how far back you come, as you want to really look for that squeeze behind your heart. Hug the elbows in, drag them down, and then press your head back. That's it. And then come all the way back up, please. Nice job. Release the hands down to the floor. You can place your block to the side. Good. Walk your hands forward onto hands and knees, and then tuck your toes and lift your hips. Come into downward facing dog. Got it. Good. Nice, you guys. Steady your heels towards the floor. So now that you've done your fidgeting, finish fidgeting. You got it. And then step your right foot forward between the hands, please. Good. Take your left hand to the floor. Take your right arm to the sky. Spinal twist. Good. So take that arm up towards the sky. And now take that right arm reaching parallel to the floor. So it's coming straight up from your shoulder, parallel to the floor. So it should be level with your shoulder, reaching straight out from your chest. Good. So parallel to the floor.
Oh, sorry.
Yep. So now you can plug that arm in. So drag it back, pull that right hip back and in. Good. And now that arm is plugged into the shoulder. Now take that arm back up towards the sky, but keep that feeling of drawing the arm bone in towards the center of the chest. Good. And now stretch that arm over the ear, palm facing down. Beautiful. And now draw one big circle, like you're drawing that arm down, tips of the fingers down towards the floor, and then all the way back and up, back over the ear. Good. Do it one more time. Take the arm all the way down and around, and then reach back up over the ear, pause. Good. And then release that hand down to the floor, please. Good. Step your left foot forward just a little bit. Take both legs straight, Parsvottanasana. Good. You block underneath your hands here if you'd like. Let that left hip spin forward, right hip lifts a little higher. Nice. So both legs should be straight, hands framing the front foot. You got it. Beautiful, you guys. One more deep breath. Good. And then bend that right knee, please. Step your left foot forward, both feet to the top of your mat. Good. Grab your block if you have one, place it between the upper thighs. You got it. And then again, the hug of that block. So again, it's not just a squeezing, trying to get the knees together, but it's an engaging of the inner thighs. So you want to feel those inner thighs kind of fire up. So hug the block and then bend your knees a lot. Take your butt back behind you and then take the arms up alongside your ears, come into chair, Utkatasana, and then bring your hands back behind your head. Good. Again, chin level with the floor. So instead of looking up, drop the chin towards the chest, or you're going to be looking at an angle. Squeeze those elbows in. Press your head back straight into your hands. Don't tilt the chin up. Good. Keep squeezing those elbows in and then dig down. And now pull your rib cage in and drop your tail. So your chest is going to lift slightly higher. That's it. Now maintain this feeling. Press into your feet. Come all the way up to stand. As you come up to stand and you're lengthening through the tops of your thighs, keep your ribs in, tilt your sternum up towards the ceiling, keep squeezing those elbows in and drag them down. Again, looking for that space right behind the heart, just at the lower edge of the shoulder blades to squeeze and lift. Good. Now still in that little back bend, stretch the arms up alongside your ears, reach. Good, take the tops of your thighs back. Yes, there it is. And then come all the way back up to center. Exhale, hands out and down to the floor. Nice job. Place your block off to the side. You're like, how the hell does this get us into reverse plank? It will. Right foot steps back behind you, please. Good. Right hand stays on the floor. Take your left arm up to the sky. Spinal twist. You can always have a block underneath that hand that's on the floor. Good. Take the left arm parallel now. So reach it straight up from your chest, parallel to the floor. So straight up from your chest mark, not the left. There you go. Plug that arm bone in. So you're stacking the left rib cage a little bit higher over the right. And now start to take that arm back up towards the sky with the arm really drawing into the shoulder socket. Beautiful. Now take that arm over the ear, palm facing down. Keep the arm hugging into the shoulder. And then start to draw that circle. Take the fingertips down towards the floor, all the way back towards the back heel. Rotate fingers up towards the sky and then back over the ear. Good. Do it one more time. Take the fingers down towards the floor, all the way back towards the back of your mat, all the way back up towards the sky, over the ear, pause. Good. And then release that left hand down to the floor, please. Good. Step your right foot forward just a little bit. Come to Parsvottanasana on the second side. Same pose you were just in. Both legs straight. You got it. Good. Nice, Joy. Keep lifting the hips all the way up and back. So the more you guys press into your feet, you pull the hips up and back, is you're going to feel that there's more ability for that left leg to find its full stretch, right? So if you don't move your hips at all and you just keep pushing back through your knees trying to get your hamstrings to stretch, there's not going to be anywhere for them to go. Right? We just keep struggling against the same amount of restriction. So we have to look for where is there somewhere else that I can shift? Where can I relieve some of that pressure so that there is the opportunity for there to be a different experience, a different stretch, more room. So lift your hips higher and then press down through your heels. Nice. Good, you guys. Bend your left knee, please. Step the right foot forward alongside the left. Again, grab your block if you'd like, taking the block between the upper thighs. Good. Bend your knees again, taking the butt way back behind you. Good. Stretch the arms up alongside your ears. Come back to chair. Good. Lifting your low belly up off of your thighs. So really feel that trying to pull, hip points up and drop your tail. Beautiful. Now take your hands into cactus arms. So elbows wide, 90 degrees, palms facing down towards the floor. Good. Spin your inner elbows forward like you're going to hug a big beach ball with your elbows. So squeeze in. Good. Nice, you guys. Excellent. And then press into your feet. Come all the way up to stand. Block is still between the upper thighs. Arms are in cactus arms. Good. Lift your chest up towards the sky again. Sternum rotates up. Elbows spin forward. Let your chest fall back. Head lengthens. Push through the top of your head. Excellent. Now stretch your arms all the way up to the sky again. Feel like you're hugging the arms towards each other and drag those shoulder blades down your back as you pull your sternum up to the sky. Good. And then come all the way back up to center. Exhale, hands out and down to the floor. Nice job. Place the block off to the side. Good. Step your right leg back behind you, please. Left leg comes up and back to down dog split. Good. Bend that knee, keep your heel in towards your butt. Good. Stack that left hip on top of the right, open. You got it. Flex the foot. Imagine there's a wall behind you that you're pushing your left foot into. And then let your right heel soften towards the floor. That's it. Nice, Mark. Good. Point that left knee back down towards the floor. Please, just for a breath, kick your heel up higher. Lift your chest up. So your knee is now pointing straight down to the floor. Hips are square. That's it. Lift your chest slightly higher. Yeah. And then go ahead and release that left foot down to the floor. Please take your right leg up and back behind you. Down dog split. Bend that knee. Kick your heel in towards your butt. Stack the right hip on top of the left. And again, imagine there's a wall behind you that you are pushing your foot into. That's it. Good. And you've got to almost brace, right? If you're pushing into something, so you got to draw your thigh bone up and into the pelvis. That's an area. Good, you guys. And then go ahead and release, bringing that right knee facing the floor. Kick your heel up slightly higher. Lift the back of your throat. Lift your sternum forward. Again, like you're finding that little back bend. Squeeze at the lower edge of the shoulder blades. And then relax the head, relax the foot down to the floor. Come forward to plank and find your way down to your belly. So you can rest on your belly. Don't hide in child's pose. I know. On your belly. Forehead to the floor, please. Take your hands back behind your head, elbows wide. So interlace your fingers behind your skull. Oh gosh. Lift your elbows up off of the floor. Yep, so elbows lift up. And then feel like you are drawing the tips of your elbows down towards your hips, right? So not down towards the floor, but you're trying to pull them down towards your hips. So you're bringing your tops of your shoulders away from your ears. You're digging the elbow tips down. So that should feel like you're doing something at your upper back. Good. Press down through your shins. Feel your low belly drawing in and up. And then lift up head, neck, and chest. Keep your gaze straight down to the floor, but push the back of your head up into your hands. So again, you're not looking forward at all. You're looking straight down. Good. Feel your neck getting longer as your elbow tips pull down. Extend the sternum forward. Extend through the top of the head. And don't worry if you have no idea what I'm talking about. Just try. Good. And then slowly release. Nice. You guys.
That's harder. Like it makes your head heavier.
Makes your head heavier.
Because you've got your hands behind your head.
Mm-hmm.
So it feels like there's more work.
Yeah, you gotta actually use your back. Yep, absolutely. Good, you guys. Stretch your right arm out wide to the right, straight out from your shoulders. Palm facing down. And then start to roll onto your right hip. So stack the left hip on top of the right. So the right arm is going to be back behind you. Stretch through the arm. Good. You can take that top knee back or top foot back behind you if you'd like, bending the knee. Or you can just let the legs stay where they are. You can have the left hand forward in front of you for balance. Good. The idea is just you're getting that full stretch through the right front of your shoulder, right front of your arm. Nice, guys. This is one of those, you can do this stretch, of course, with the door frame or any wall that you have around. And usually when we're doing that stretch, we're like, oh, it's intense, it's great, I love it. I never do it. I just let the tension accumulate in my shoulders and my chest and my neck. Then one day I say, I don't know what happened, I'm broken. And I can't possibly get back to where I was. There's no way to undo this. Right? The great quotes from Swami Satchidananda when talking about, religion and yoga, is he says that he is a follower of undoism. We're able to undo anything that has created suffering in your life. Doesn't mean you can get rid of everything that makes you uncomfortable, but you can undo the patterns of your own suffering. That's what yoga is for. If you're just here for fun, don't worry, you can do that too. Good. Slowly release that top leg back to center. Roll back towards your belly, please. We're just going to go to the other side. So stretch your left arm out wide from the left shoulder. Try to make sure that it is in a straight line with your shoulder. So there's a tendency for it to sort of, for the hand to slide down towards the hip and be a little low. So make sure that it's all the way up as much as it can be. And then start to roll onto your left hip. Good. And again, your right foot can come back behind you if that feels good for balance. You can bend the knee. You could also have that knee slightly forward if that feels better, but you want the hips to be stacked on top of each other. And again, the point here is not to try to aggressively make yourself stretch as far as you can, but to actually just use the floor and your body as a way of creating structure for stretch to happen in the front of the shoulder. So if you feel like you're pulling too much, you are. Right? Moderate your position. That's exactly the point, right? Of keeping the mind in the here and now is that you are the one who is helping to contribute to your own stress. So if you really don't like the way that it feels, notice the way that you contribute to it. Because there's places where you can say something different, act in a different way, don't participate, yes, participate. Don't assume that your discomfort or that your suffering or that your challenges are unchangeable. Nice, you guys. I'm gonna take one more breath here. And slowly start to release, coming back towards your belly. And walk your hands back alongside your rib cage. Move slow. And then as your hands walk back, placing the hands where you would for cobra, just move your hands wider to the right and the left. So you're taking a wide arm cobra. Your hands can come off of your mat if you want. But the elbows should be lifted up towards the ceiling. Good. Hands moving back in space. You can be up on your fingertips here or palms flat. We typically say up on fingertips for wide arm cobra, but whatever works for you is fine. And then as you root down, pause for a second, don't lift up yet. Start to pull your lower rib cage up away from the floor, almost like you're trying to round into that area of your middle back. That's great, Dana. And then lift up through your low belly. Keep that roundness, so you're really curling into your middle back. And then start to pull your chest forward. Again, like you're trying to feel like your shoulder blades are moving through your back to the front of your chest. Good, keep your elbows up. That's it. Nice, press into those fingers, pull up through the armpits. Nice, Maral, good, Joy. Excellent, you guys, and then slowly release all the way back down. Beautiful. Walk your hands closer in towards your ribs. Nice. Still give yourself a little bit of space. So if your elbows here are wider than your wrists are, I want you to move your hands slightly wider so that your elbows and wrists can easily be in line with each other. And then see if you can walk your hands back so your wrists are in a 90-degree angle with your elbows. Most of you are already there. Good. There you go. Yep. So it should feel like your hands are almost too far back, but this is really where you want to be for cobra. This is actually your middle ribs, believe it or not. You're like, no, this isn't where I put my hands when you say middle ribs. This is your middle ribs. Yeah, so 90 degrees.
Yeah, now you're good.
Yeah, so it's just moving the hands back. There you go. Perfect. Good, you guys. Now, without moving your hands, press down, drag forward as though you're going to do like a little army crawl across the floor, right? So drag backwards with your hands, chest forward. And now start to, again, from that lower rib cage, pull away from the floor. Good. Imagine your cobra pose is coming from your lower ribs. And lift up head, neck, and chest, supported by the rib cage. Nice. Don't just push through the arms. Feel the ribs drawing in and feel the lower back and middle back really start to squeeze. Good. And then slowly release. Nice job, you guys. Really different. I know. Press yourself back up onto hands and knees, please. Good. Take a child's pose, letting your hips come back to your heels. Excellent, you guys. Press down through your shins. And it is really funny, right? That the simplest poses that we do all the time, like cobra, right? If you take a yoga class, you probably will do cobra at least one time, probably a dozen, depending on the type of class. It's one of the simplest poses that we do. But we often don't do it in a way that actually opens up our back, as we just let ourselves go to where our easiest flexibility is. We push into that. And then that gets weaker, or it gets more aggravated, and everything else stays tight. So it's these subtle little things that we change that gives a different experience. And it doesn't have to be big things. It usually isn't. And keep the mind present with what's right here. And be skillful in this moment as best you can. Good. Walk yourself back up, please. Find a comfortable seat. So if you have a block and you want to sit in Virasana, that is usually my suggestion. So sitting between the feet or on the feet. You can also use a block. Grab your strap. Borrowing yours, Dana, for a second. Yeah. So whatever your seat is fine as long as you have a steady seat. Let's give it back in a second. And I just want your strap held out in front of you. Make sure you're not super close to the wall. So move yourself away from the wall or furniture if you're super close to it behind you. So the strap is out in front of you, a little wider than your shoulders, and you're holding it nice and taut. So you're actually giving some pressure, pulling the hands apart. Good. You're keeping your ribs nice and neutral. Inhale, take the arms all the way up, strap above the head. And then as you exhale, rotate, take the arms all the way back, keeping the elbows straight, strap back behind you all the way down. Good. Make the strap as long as you need it to be. And then you inhale all the way back up again without bending the elbows if you can. And then exhale, bring the strap forward. That full rotation may not be possible for your shoulders. And if that is true, whoa, don't fight with that. Or the demon that has taken over the video feed here.
There we are.
There we are. Yikes. So don't fight with that. If there's a range of motion and this is as far as you go, this is as far as you go, right? That's totally fine. Just work with that. But on your inhales, come all the way up. As you exhale, come as far back as you can, as much room on the strap as you need to make that happen. And then reverse it. Inhale up, exhale forward. Notice as you're doing this that keep going on your own pace. But notice as you're doing this that one shoulder is going to be less sticky than the other. That is always the case. That's it, Kristen. So try to figure out which shoulder is the stickier one and slow down to accommodate the sticky one.
Okay.
Yeah, I know you're going to be like, yeah, just make that one speed up, right? No, slow down so that your shoulders are moving equal with each other. Slow down for the sticky one. Good. Nice, Kristen. Good. Nice, Merle. You got it. Yeah, make this meditation, right? Good.
That's what it was feeling like.
And that's really the practice, right? Yoga says that eventually, if you have this mindset where you are relaxed around what you're doing, is that everything you do is meditation. It's your mind can be in a state of meditation while you go about doing whatever your life needs you to do. We don't have to be in a state of panic. We don't have to be in a state of despair. We don't have to be in a state of tension or upset. We don't have to be in that. But we're so used to it that we can't imagine living our lives without it. Right? So as soon as we wake up, our mind starts the routine, right? I get stressed about this, and then I get stressed about that, and then I look at the TV, and that's a bad idea, and then I look at my phone, and that's a worse idea, and then I call my mother, and that's the worst of the worst idea, right? Or whatever. It's because there are some mom conversations going on in here. Next time your strap comes forward, let it go. Whatever your personal stresses are, right? You find out that your dog ate something or, whatever it is. Find out that your cat puked on the bed. Like, there's always something. Let your strap go, please, for a moment, and then come forward onto hands and knees. My point is that the mind starts its routine of what do I get stressed about, and it starts looking for that, right? Hands and knees, please. Good. Come into downward facing dog. And so anytime we can disrupt that pattern where your mind is looking for the next thing to be upset about, as soon as you disrupt it, that's liberation, right? Right there, when you can disrupt your mind from reaching for the next thing to be upset about. Good. Take your right leg up and back behind you, down dog split. You got it. Bend the knee, kick your heel in towards your butt. Keep that knee pointing towards the floor. Kick your heel a little higher, drag back on your hands, lift your sternum forward and up like you're going to take the back of your heart to your heel. Good. Pull up through your rib cage. That's it. Nice, nice, nice. Like a little scorpion. That's it. And then go ahead, release the upper body, stretch the right leg to straight. You got it. And then step that right foot forward between the hands, lunge. Drop the back knee, use a blanket if you'd like. Inhale the arms to the sky, Anjaneyasana. So back knee stays on the floor and the arms are up. You got it. Nice. You want your hips here to be forward of the back knee. So you're not directly on top of it. You're letting your hips move forward. Good. And then bring your hands to your front thigh, both hands. Interlace your fingers. Push your thigh away and round into your back. So it's like you're trying to move your knee forward, but you're pulling your belly and your rib cage back. So you're really getting the stretch into the front of that back thigh. Good. Nice, you guys. Then stay really rounded in your back here and start to stretch your arms back up alongside your ears. Lift your chest a little higher. That's it. Don't push the ribs forward. Yep, chest up, chest up, chest up. Now keep your chest lifted in that little back bend. Let your hands drop down towards the floor, palms facing forward, as though you're just gonna let your fingers reach down to touch the floor. Keep pulling your sternum up, draw your ribs back, and just let your hands be this long weight. Beautiful. And then navel to spine, come all the way back up. Release your hands down to the floor. If you're like, I didn't touch anything. Perfect.
In my mind.
In your mind, you did. Step back to downward facing dog. Nice, you guys. Good. Come forward to plank pose, upward push up. Lower down slow, coming through your knees if you'd like. Good. Point the toes back behind you. Remember that feeling of cobra. Maybe walk your hands back a tiny step. And then drag back on the hands. Lift your chest forward and up. Cobra pose. Keep your chin drop towards your chest. Feel your back work. And then press through the top of your head just for that last breath. Good. And then exhale, release, downward facing dog, nice and roll. Excellent, you guys. Left leg comes up and back behind you, down dog split. You bend the knee, kick your heel in towards your butt. You want to keep that thigh as high as it'll go, but the knee points down to the floor. So kick that thigh high. And then pull your arms up and in as you lift your chest forward towards your fingertips. Take your gaze slightly forward. But again, it's really your chest that is orienting there. Good. Like the back of your heart is going to come to your heel. You can always drop the chin if the neck is straining, but feel that lift of the chest. Yeah, that sticky place behind the heart. Good. Release the upper back, stretch your left leg to straight, and then step the left foot forward between the hands, come into lunge. Drop your back knee down to the floor, asana. Take the arms to the sky. You got it. Nice, you guys. And again, you're looking for your hips to be forward of that back knee. So you're not directly on top of it. You want the weight of the hips to be slightly forward. Keep your front heel flat on the floor though. Good, so you can always lengthen your stance if you need. Excellent, you guys. Good, 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 good. What the heck did I have to do here? Oh yeah, hands to the front thigh. Thank you. Interlace your fingers, press into that front thigh. I was like, there was a thing that I did. Press forward and then round back. Thank you. Good, good, good. Keep your hips moving forward though. So your ribs are drawing back, rounding as much as they can. Relax the shoulders. Good, you guys. And then stay rounded at the middle ribs and start to lift your chest back up, stretching the arms up alongside your ears. So you keep that feeling of fullness in your back. That's it. So pull up taller through your waist. Good. And then lift your sternum back up towards the sky like you're taking that little back bend. Don't push the ribs forward though. Pull those in. And then let your hands straight down towards the floor, chest really open. So turn your palms forward. And again, you're not reaching for the floor. You're pulling your sternum up and letting your arms become impossibly long. And pressing through the top of your head. Nice. Lift your chest. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And then come all the way back up. Release the hands down to the floor. Nice job. Lift your back knee. Good. Come back to downward facing dog. Then come forward to plank pose, upward push up. Drop your knees down to the floor. Keep your hips in front of your knees. Slide your weight forward. Bring your chest down between your thumbs. So your butt is lifted, chest between the thumbs. You can always widen your hands here if you need to. Knees, chest, and chin. So the chin is lifted. Oh, yep. And you're actually squeezing your knees and your hands towards each other. So we're going to walk your hands back and chest forward. There you go. Yeah, squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. And then go ahead and come all the way forward onto your belly. Point your toes, lift up into cobra, remembering to continue to drag back on your hands. I know. I want you to do cobra correctly every single time. I'm ridiculous. And then release to your belly, please. Take a moment, turn one cheek to the side or make a pillow with your hands. And you're still wondering what the hell is reverse plank. Some of you know what it is, so you're not confused, but you might be wondering why we're doing this.
It's gonna be easier than we thought. That's what you're
Yeah, it will be. It is cobra upside down, exactly. And this is the thing, right? So we have to recognize that where we are tight doesn't just restrict the things that we are aware of. The places that we're tight are restricting everything. It's true in your body, right? Things that you just don't even try because you know, you're like, oh, I can't do that. That's gonna hurt. I don't have that range of motion. Same thing is true in our mind, right? Our mind gets into its routines and there's so many things that just bypasses because it says, no, that's too much like this other thing. I'm not even gonna like that. Well, you've never tried, nope. Mind gets fixated. So we become bound up, we become restricted in ways that we don't even realize. All those things that you're like, I would never attempt to do it because why? We can start to work with restriction and then many things become much more available. Again, if you're thinking the goal, right, reverse plank doesn't mean very much to you. Same practice of opening for reverse plank makes you much more available for cobra, makes you much more available for camel, makes you much more available for every single pose we've just done. Same place, same body. And this is liberation, right? Not that there's nothing difficult to do, but that you have the openness and the availability to do it without struggle. Bring your forehead back to face the floor, please. Bend your knees, keep your heels in towards your butt. Reach back for your feet or your ankles if you can. If reaching your feet is not an option today, keep your hands alongside your ribs like you would for cobra. Good. If you are holding your feet, right, drag those heels down towards your butt, keep them there. So you're keeping your knees on the floor here, you're not lifting them up. Keep your heels as close to your butt as you can. Quad stretch. Hug your knees a little closer, Joy. There you go. And then start to lift head, neck, and chest, only bending your elbows, pointing them up towards the ceiling. Good. And again, you want to be hugging into that place at the lower edge of your shoulder blade. So bend your elbows a lot. Even if you keep your chest on the floor, work that bend of the elbows. Drop your chin towards your chest just a little bit more. And then feel again that you rise up from the back of your heart. Keep those knees rooting down, heels down. You got it. And then slowly release. Excellent, you guys. Good. Bring yourself up onto hands and knees. Do a little bit of gentle cat and cow, because again, we do a lot of this back bending stuff trying to get the middle back because it can get a little cranky. So gentle cat and cow. Got it. Good. And then slowly release, please. Letting yourself drop your hips back towards your heels. Grab your strap again. Good. So you're taking your strap, and I want you to hold it in almost that same long line, but behind your back this time, right? So if you're kneeling, strap is back behind you as though you're starting in that first position. So my knuckles are facing forward. So my arms are still in like a normal kind of rotation here, but I'm holding the strap back behind me. Good. And so here you're going to drop your forehead towards the floor and you're going to come into that hare pose, lifting the hips, stretching the arms up and over, pulling on the strap, letting yourself again feel as much stretch as you want to feel here. So you are pulling the hands away from each other, up on the crown of your head, keep weight in your shins so that you're not dropping your weight into your neck. And then feel yourself pulling up through your ribs, rounding the back still, but let your arms rotate as much as they want to with that strap pull. Good, because that concept of interlacing the fingers and being able to stretch the arms up and over as a shoulder stretch is great if your shoulders are already open. If your shoulders are tight, that stretch is really restricted. This is a different way to do it. So really try to draw that strap towards the floor any amount. And now you feel what it's like to actually try and do that shoulder stretch from your shoulders.
Feels amazing.
It feels great. And then slowly release, letting the hips come back down to your heels, coming back up, release your strap. Good. Stay on your mat, stay on your butt, take your feet out in front of you. Yep, feet out in front of you. So sitting down. Extend the legs out. Right leg stays extended. Bend your left knee in towards your chest and then step that foot over your right thigh, just crossing. Right arm is going to wrap around your left shin. Left hand comes back behind you into a twist. So you're turning your belly towards that bent knee. Dana, switch your feet. Good. Nice, you guys. Lifting the chest up. You got it. Dropping that right shoulder down away from the ear. Beautiful. And as you're looking over that left shoulder, pause for a breath. And then stay in the twist and just move your gaze over the right shoulder. And drop that left shoulder down and wide. So you're actually trying to stretch the neck by looking in the opposite direction and dropping wide through that shoulder. Good. And then come back to center, please. Nice job. Unwind the legs. Take the left leg straight out. Bend your right knee, bring it in towards your chest, and then step it over the left thigh. Take the left arm around the front of the knee. Take your right hand back behind you. Come into your twist. So your belly lifts up towards the thigh. Good. And then go for that usual. We look over the right shoulder as we're twisting this direction. Dropping the right shoulder away from the ear. And then stay in the twist and start to turn your gaze to the left. And as you turn your gaze to the left, again, you're dropping down and wide through that right shoulder again. So you remind yourself that the shoulder and the neck are connected to each other. Good. Again, try not to tilt the chin up, drop the chin and feel where there is the ability to shift the way the shoulder relates to the neck. That's it. And then slowly unwind. You gotta take both legs straight out in front of you. Grab your strap. Bring your strap around the balls of both feet. So you're holding one end of the strap in each hand. Strap your feet. And then sit up nice and straight so that your elbows can be in line with your upper body. So you're not here with your strap, but you're here, right? So give yourself as much room on the strap as you need to do that. So you're sitting up nice and straight. Good. Press the balls of your feet forward into the strap. So you've got a little bit of this forward action on your legs. Good. And now with your feet pressing forward, feel as though still upright that you're pressing your butt back. Good. Yep. So you're pushing forward with your feet, but you're pushing back through your sit bones. Nice. And then draw your low rib cage up and in. Beautiful. Now start to lean forward. Continue to push your butt backwards as you lean forward, pulling those elbows back. So I don't want you to hunch the shoulders. I want you to keep drawing back as though you're doing that cobra action again. Right? You're dragging back on the arms, drawing back on the elbows as you lean forward into that forward fold. Good. It's not at all the way that you want it to be, right? But try it, right? So you're dragging back because this is to really get into the upper back. It's more about your back than your hamstrings here. Keep the back of your throat in line with the rest of your spine. Keep dragging back, 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 and you lean forward from your hips. That's it. You can't go that far. That's okay. Good. And then slowly release. Come all the way back up. Place your strap to the side. Bend your knees, please. Plant your feet wide as your hips, hips width. And then plant your hands alongside you, fingers pointing towards your heels. Good. Keeping your feet on the floor. Bend your elbows. And as your elbows bend, hug the upper arms. So squeeze the upper arms. Good, almost like a backwards cobra, exactly. And then lift the back of your heart so sternum goes up and just pause there. And now pull your ribs back and in. Sternum up, ribs in. Yeah, and keep squeezing your arms. Good. Now push into your hands, let your elbows come to straight, press into your feet and lift your hips up into reverse table. Nice. Beautiful, you guys. Release the hips down to the floor. Good. Stretch your legs straight out in front of you. Inhale your arms up to the sky. Exhale, bow forward, take your Paschimottanasana with no strap to distract you. No ridiculous cues to distract you. Good. And then let yourself come all the way back up. Bend your knees again, please. Plant your feet. Hips width. Hands back behind you, fingers pointing towards your heels. And if your shoulders are very tight or you feel like your neck or that place behind the heart is really restricted, move your hands wider. Don't complain. Just move your hands wider. You can even turn your hands slightly out, right? Because the point is to give your shoulders room to do what they do. They have to be able to rotate. So again, bend your elbows. Good. Feel that hug of the upper arms. Draw your ribs in as you push your sternum up. So get that feeling of really trying to squeeze that space behind the heart. And then start to press into your hands to straighten the arms. Lift your hips back up to reverse table. And then keep your left leg exactly as it is. Extend your right leg out to straight on the floor. Yeah, heel on the floor. Point your foot. And lift that hip as high as your left one is. Oh. And then bend that knee back into reverse table, lift the hips back up, and then let the hips come back down. Stretch your legs straight out in front of you. Inhale your arms up to the sky. Exhale, bow forward, Paschimottanasana. Good. Giving you the moment in between to stop thinking about reverse plank. And then walk yourself back up. I'm also tricking you into continuing to stretch your hamstrings and your lower back. Take your hands back behind you, bend your knees, plant your feet. Again, that same position for reverse table, bend the elbows. As your elbows bend, feel your ribs draw in and your sternum lift. So again, you're really getting into that squeeze. Good, it should feel like, that's the spot that I wish you just stopped poking at. Press into your hands to straighten the arms, lift your hips back up to reverse table. Good. And this time, right leg stays where it is. Extend your left leg straight out on the floor. So your foot is on the floor. Good. Push your hips up towards the sky. Yeah. Feeling that left big toe rooting down. Yes. And then go ahead and bend the knee again. Replace the foot. Hips to the sky. And then slowly release down. Why did I want you to, again, lift your hips when you had both feet on the floor? So that you can notice that as soon as you straighten the leg, your hips dropped. And then when you bend both knees again, you could lift your hips up higher, right? So it's just an awareness, right, of that tightness that for most of us exists at the front of the thighs and the pelvis. It's a lot easier to do this position with your knees bent, and that's why, right? So I just want you to be aware. Stretch your legs straight out in front of you. Inhale the arms up to the sky. Good. This time, point your toes in your Paschimottanasana, and then bow forward. So why point your toes? So that you can notice if you are one of those people whose feet tend to roll out in this position. Keep your big toes up against each other, next to each other. Try not to let them roll open. Keep your feet facing straight ahead. Roll your inner thighs down towards the floor. That's it. Yeah. Good. And then slowly release, come all the way back up. Nice. Now keep your legs in this position. Walk your hands back behind you, fingers pointing towards your heels. Good. Again, hands can be as wide as they need to be. Bend your elbows. As your elbows bend, hug the upper arms, feel your sternum pull up as your ribs draw in. Again, squeeze behind the heart, press into your hands to straighten the arms, and then squeeze your legs together, point your toes, and lift your butt up off the floor. Pull your inner thighs up towards the sky. Good, and if really your shoulders are like, no way, Jose, then bend one knee or bend both knees and come back into the half variation. Good, keep your big toes towards each other. Keep squeezing behind the heart. This is not about pushing your hips to the sky. It's about reaching from your sternum. Hips will follow. Excellent. And then slowly release. Ay, ay, ay. One more time, arms to the sky. And exhale, bow forward. Congratulations. Reverse plank. It was satisfying.
Is it okay if your feet flex during that?
You
The point
can have your feet flex. It's a different
Or just
engagement
not
on your
like
legs. Yeah, you could do sort of the point and flex thing if the full point is causing spasm, because that's more of like a tightness in your calves that just needs to be worked out. Yeah, good. You guys slowly walk yourself back up. Please bend both knees. Take the bottoms of your feet together. Let your knees go wide. Baddha Konasana. Good. Once you found that position, just let yourself fold forward any way that you like. If you want to hold your feet, You want to extend your arms forward, extend your arms forward. My only suggestion / rule is don't hunch your shoulders. Just that, just relax your shoulders away from your ears. But what's going to be really fun is that some of you will get in your car after this and be like, oh, it didn't hurt to go reach for the seatbelt. Or I didn't have to twist so much to reach for that thing. Maybe my neck aches less, my shoulder aches less from carrying a bag. Right? We practice yoga not to become flexible for the poses, as we practice yoga to become flexible so that we can continue to adapt to the moment that we're in, be skillful with the moment that we're in. Be able to do more than just what your mind says that you did last time. Walk yourself all the way back up. Good. If you're in the room with me, turn around to your headspace center of the room. Come on down to your backs. If you're at home, come on down to your back facing any dang way you like. Good. Drawing your knees in towards your chest, please. Yeah. Let your knees go slightly wider, like you're doing an upside down child's pose. So the big toes can be almost touching, but draw your knees slightly wider towards your armpits. And as you hug your shins in, press your shins back against your hands. And then feel your lower back pressing down to the floor. Good. Upside down child's pose. Nice. And then reach for your ankles or your feet. Just stack the heels on top of the knees here. Come into happy baby. The knees are still wider than your ribs. Feet facing up towards the ceiling. Yeah, you got it. That's it, Kristen. Good. Again, feeling the lower back rooting down to the floor. Awesome, you guys. Bring the knees back together in front of the chest. Keep your right knee hugged in towards your chest. Extend your left leg down towards the floor. Squeeze it in. Good. And then hold behind that right thigh. Please extend your right heel up towards the ceiling. Come into a hamstring stretch. Point and flex your foot. Good. And then come back to stillness with the flexed foot. Got it. Then draw the knee back in towards your chest, squeeze. And then take your knee into your left hand. So it's still the right knee. I want it to cross towards the left shoulder. So it's not a full spinal twist. You're keeping your right butt cheek on the ground. You're just drawing your right knee towards your left shoulder. So it's crossing your belly. Yeah. And then press that right side sacrum down to the floor. Yeah. Good. You had it. Yeah. Good, you guys. And then if you can here, maybe continue to hold the knee or to hold behind the thigh, extend that leg out to straight. You can even hold your ankle, depends on what you can reach. Try to hang on to something and extend the leg out towards that left shoulder, but keep your right butt cheek down on the floor. So it's not a full twist. Ay. Good. And then bring it all the way back up to center. Squeeze the right knee in towards your chest. Feel like this is supposed to be the relaxing part. And then release that right leg down to the floor.
Was that like an intense IT stretch?
Yeah.
Okay.
Left knee comes in towards your chest. It is a very intense IT band stretch. Hold behind your left thigh, extend your left heel up towards the sky. Kind of like that as long as I have you in a class focused on a pose, is that literally everything you do is oriented towards that pose. So the next time you do this, right? Opening up the outer hip and thigh even more is going to make the pose feel even better. Opening up the glutes is going to make the pose feel even better. Point and flex your foot, please. Creating more flexibility in your ankles will make it feel better. More easeful, less struggle. I like the poses that are not really dramatic. There's nothing terribly dramatic about reverse plank, unless you think of it from that scene from Flashdance. Yeah. If you think about it in that, then it can be dramatic, but it's not a very flashy pose. Flex the foot again, please. Good. Bend your left knee back in towards your chest. And then take the knee towards your right shoulder. If you don't know what scene I'm talking about, go watch Flashdance. You'll find out. Good. Keep your left hip rooted down to the floor. You're just letting the knee cross the belly. That's it. And then continue to hold on to that leg wherever you can. Start to extend the leg towards straight. So it's still reaching at that angle towards the right shoulder. Good. Keep your left butt cheek down on the floor. You got it. Not a full twist, just getting into that outer hip thigh. Yep. It's okay. It's not going to be down all the way, but you want to keep trying to put it down. Good. Come back up to center. Hug that knee in towards your chest. Bring the right knee in with it, please. And then scoot your hips over to the left. Drop your knees to the right into a spinal twist. Stacking the knees, stretching the left arm out wide.
Everybody's like moaning, groaning.
I know. So what happens when there's no music?
You hear all the stuff, yeah. Good, guys, bring your knees all the way back up towards center, please. Scoot your hips over to the right, drop your knees to the left, with the twist on the other side. Poses that aren't flashy, but require us to really discover something new are, I think, my favorite poses. Find them very intriguing. If you think what's a challenging pose to do, the first things that cross your mind are going to be inversions, arm balances, things on one leg, et cetera, et cetera. Really mechanically, reverse plank is very difficult to do. Find liberation, not just through big flashy things, we find liberation through doing simple things without struggling. Complicated things without struggling. Getting out of the mind's tendency to make everything a big deal. Come back to center, please. Squeeze your knees in towards your chest one more time. Bring your forehead up to meet your knees. You just curl into a little ball. Good. And then slowly release, starting to stretch the legs out in front of you. Arms alongside you, letting yourself rest in Shavasana. Feet drop open, palms face up. Just let your breath get really long and deep. And letting yourself rest in a place where there is no more need to struggle. If your mind keeps looking for something to be upset about, focus on the feeling of the floor holding you. Focus on the feeling of the flow of the breath that just comes to you. Let your mind get carried away. Not in fantasy, just in that soothing rhythm of inhale and exhale. Gently bring the awareness back to your breath. Let your body begin to stretch and move, whatever ways serve it well. As you're ready, draw your knees in towards your chest and roll to your right side. Take a moment there before you begin to push the floor away. Come back to an upright seated position. Bring the hands together in front of the heart center, palm to palm. We often think that when there's something in our lives that we want to change, or there's something about ourselves that we want to change, that we think that, well, when we get to the new thing, when we can sustain the new thing, then that's when we've become free. That's the big thing, is I have to change. I have to reach the other side. But the moment of liberation isn't doing something new. The moment of liberation is breaking the cycle of something old. The moment you do that, whether it is the quote right thing that breaks it or not, doesn't matter. The moment of your liberation is when you break the pattern of your mind staying stuck in what is old. Whatever comes after that, you have far greater choice, you have far greater availability, because your mind is not stuck on what is old. So can you give yourself that opportunity to know that whatever it is that you struggle with habitually, maybe it's even built into your mentality at this point, it's built into your day, you schedule your struggles, right? Now's when I struggle with work. Now's when I struggle with family. Now's when I struggle with dinner. Now's when I struggle with sleep. If that's the habit, that's okay. But can you give yourself the opportunity to just break that cycle in a little tiny way? Break the cycle. You don't have to have an elaborate new plan. Just break what's old. That's liberation. And the more often you do that, and you keep the mind coming back to where it actually is right now, then it starts to actually seek freedom instead of seeking the old habits. It starts to look for space and where there's room to breathe instead of looking for that feeling of tension. But just keep breaking the cycle of what's old, and what's new will fill in that space on its own. This is why we practice. So just keep giving the mind that opportunity to become free. Close with the sound of Om. Take a deep breath in. Sliding the thumbs up to the space between the eyebrows. Namaste.
Namaste.
Thank you guys so much. Have a great rest of your night, a great rest of your week until I see you again. Heads up for the weekend. Friday and Saturday are all normal. Sunday, there is only one class during the day. It's at 10 a.m. It'll be in studio and online. And our new teacher, Lauren, is going to be teaching that. So come check him out on Easter Sunday if you'd like. And check out when his classes are regularly. They're on Sunday mornings, 8 a.m. and Thursdays, 7:30, right after this class. So if you wanted to do a double, you could. But that's this weekend for the schedule for the weekend. If we don't see you, enjoy the holidays. Be well.
Thank you, Veronica.
Did you hear us?